What's up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be doing the match analysis from last night's crazy game. I'm going to keep this raw because in a game like that, it's very hard to dissect numbers-wise and really analyzing the play because you're down, then you just chuck everyone forward. You can see chuck everyone forward, going forward. We'll talk a little bit about tactics and numbers, but mainly I want to talk about reaction, the feeling, what to look after, of course, after the game, 5 key things to learn from this moment as well. So much to discuss. Now, I do want to firstly discuss the quotes coming in after the game from the players and the manager because I do believe it was significant. Before I get into that, there was apparently, according to reports, a fight that broke out in the tunnel between Benfica players and Barcelona players, with Raphinha being the main antagonist. Police had to separate the two. I'll leave that there. We'll get now into the quotes after the game. Firstly, Eric Garcia came out after the game saying that all players want to feel important and it is the coach who decides. But I'm very happy to help the team on a consistent basis. Raphinha then came out saying after the game, we knew it would be a tough game. They are a team that plays and defends very well, but we didn't let ourselves go down after 3-1. Then asked about the fight, he said, look, I respect everyone. When I left the field, there were some people who were insulting me and I returned those insults. I know I shouldn't do it. We all get angry, but if they respect me, I will respect them. They were the ones that could have understood the situation, but they preferred to insult me rather than, going back and regrouping. But in the end, it was a great match. Eric Garcia said also it was an unbelievable win. The mentality of this team that they showed was absolutely amazing. Raphinha also said it's the best moment of my career. I'm proud to be Barcelona. I'm proud to be at Barca and proud of this team as well. We didn't give up even though we were 3-1 down. We came back in the second half, focused on our mission to try and change the result of the game. It was a great game. In the end, Midfield could have won, but thank God in the end we won. I will kill and die for this team. Now look, man had a stinker. I know he got our brace. Terrible performance over the course of 90 minutes. But this man's mentality is second to none in this team. I will kill and die for this team. That is a warrior that every single team in the world wants in their team. And I respect that so much. Flick came out saying, I've never experienced a comeback like this before. The best thing was the mentality of the players. He was asked about the mistakes during the game, saying, look, every player makes mistakes. We win together and we lose together. I like the second half. We are now qualified, even also if we don't need to win the match against Atalanta next week anymore. Barca came out saying it's a very important victory. We were all very happy with how we qualified for the round 16. It was a crazy game. I've never seen this before. I swear in my life. Flick said Benfica are a very good team with transition. In the second half, we were much better. The changes have helped us at the back. He said that if he knew anything about the Raphinha fight in the tunnel, he said, to be honest, I have no idea what's happening. Barca was saying, oh, it's a good birthday present because it will be his birthday today. So now he's the 18-year-old center back sensation, not the 17-year-old anymore. Barca also said that we had to change the formation because we had less possession, so we needed to change some things to move the ball, progress the ball forward much more. We have more quotes here from Hansi Flick. Victories give us time to continue believing in this project. We want to keep improving and correct our mistakes. It was a crazy game. Benfica played well, especially in the first half. We made mistakes and they took advantage of it. But in the second half, we changed the system because we wanted to win the game. Asked about Szczesny and Naki Plenia, what's going to happen with them and, what's their role. Said, look, we don't have goalkeepers in every competition. We see which one is the best option and we prepare each game for that. So not giving me any indications whatsoever. Asked if there was a last second penalty. Said, look, I don't know. We have to believe in VAR. They decided that in the end there wasn't, and that's football. Sometimes it's for one team and sometimes for the other. I've seen a lot of Twitter uproar about the potential penalty, which I believe was very, very soft. The last second one for Benfica. If you think it's a penalty, that's cool. End of the day, Benfica got a penalty for diving, so balance each other out. So you can hold that. Shush. I'm thinking a lot of UEFA Lona. Fucking UEFA Lona. We had 2 penalties in the game for the first time I think in my life. I lied. I think there was one back in against Getafe. I forget what year that was. But still, we're scrounging for penalties nowadays, and you're telling me that's UEFA Lona. Oh my god. The penalty was so soft. Frankie de Jong barely touches him. The player's already going down at that point. And Szczesny collects the ball without contesting him, and people are saying that's a clear penalty. And then they have the other guy, that freaking Turkish guy, jumping over Szczesny and then getting a penalty from that. Have a day off. Flick said we have given an image that we are together and that also we are back. Again, I'm thinking more so about the team mentality. By the way, Raphinha was leaving the press area and he was asked what are his thoughts on, La Liga referees compared to Champions League referees. He said, look, if I speak about La Liga referees, they'll never let me play in La Liga again. So smart from him. Back to Flick. He was asked about Pedri. He said, look, Pedri also made mistakes in the first half, but he's consistently looking for the best option in spaces. He connects all the passes very well. It's very important to have someone like him. Exactly what I said in my match review. So me and Flick, we're on that same wavelength. Now Lewandowski probably dropped the best quotes after the game from a fan perspective. He said, "I think that the 3 goals that Benfica scored today was a gift for them, but in the end, it's always better to score more goals than the opponent. We have to learn how to play better defensively and also offensively. There is something we lack, and that is that we need to be more focused." Absolutely spot on from Robert. I think this team, I think this win for us this season can be very important for the future and for the rest of the season, but also we need to analyze what we can improve upon. Spot on from Lewandowski. Back to Flick, saying that Eric Garcia is an important player for us. He's a defender that he can perform well in different positions on the field. There's no coincidence that he joined the attack and ended up scoring the equalizer. We have any more quotes here from, I think there's a few more quotes here from Flick, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, we have some quotes here from Szczesny, who, of course, had a little bit of a slimper of a game. He kept saying it was an excellent game. That's why we all love football. There are many ups and downs. That's a part of the beauty of a game. He was asked that, you've been sitting on the beach 6 months ago. Now you're playing for Barcelona in the Champions League. How do you feel? So look, it's been a big chance over the past 6 months. I can easily say I'm very, very happy with the decision that I have made. We have struggled in La Liga recently, especially against the teams that play a low block. Perhaps we find more spaces in behind the fence against Champions League opponents, and that's where we score much more goals. Just like Lewandowski, the two Polish are just speaking on absolute facts. It was a strange game, full of energy from both sides. It was emotional, but we were happy with the win. I'm sure with the talent that we have in the squad, we'll find a way to break through the deep blocks in La Liga and overcome the deficit. So that's all the quotes. Let's now discuss some of the, again, I really like the quotes from both Szczesny and Lewandowski speaking absolute facts. Some of the things we learned from this game, I would say firstly that this team is very much reliant on one player, and that player is, of course, Pedri Potter, and I will have his stats here on the screen, which I believe are absolutely ridiculous stats from him tonight. And it's just the fact that he drops this with only 1 assist and getting these numbers is unheard of. 8.6 overall rating. You can see from the team, of course, playing on the left-hand side of the midfield. 90 minutes, 1 assist, an XA of 1.08, 119 touches, 90% pass accuracy, 6 key passes, attempted 10 long balls, completed 2 of them, created 2 big chances. He attempted 4 ground, those won 3 of them, attempted 1 dribble, and completed it. Never committed a foul in this game, and was fouled himself once. These are absolutely criminal numbers from a player that is Barcelona are just so reliant on, and that's why Flick is saying in the press conference as well. Yes, he made some mistakes in the first half, especially those switch passes that I talked about in the match review to Kounde and Lamine Yamal on the right-hand side. But apart from that, his dictation, his composure, his vision, ability to find the spaces in tight areas, beating the press as well, is just second to none in the world of football. And this is why he's getting rinsed week in, week out. And I talk about resting Pedri, but I think what I said in the match review sums it up perfectly. He's basically the Messi of this team in the sense that we are heavily reliant on him, and when you take him out, the team is different. But I do want to see it being tested, though. With Messi, it's incomparable. At least with Pedri, there are players like him in the team. For example, you can drop Gavi in there. You have Pablo Torre as well that has the same traits as Pedri. Of course, not at the highest level per se. But again, I think that comparison is definitely there, and that's something I think that Flick should definitely try out. But again, first thing we learned from this game, Pedri is on demon time. Secondly, Flick does have some sort of tactical mind, tactical approach, and we saw that when he switched the formation at the 70th minute, going to this 3-4-3 kind of shape. He had, of course, a back three of Eric, Araujo, and Kubarsi, wing backs being Lamine Yamal and Fermin Lopez, Pedri de Jong in the middle, front three of Raphinha and Lewandowski, with Varane just in behind, kind of as a false 9 center forward. And Kubarsi talked about this as well post game as well, saying that we need to progress the ball forward much better. And with this formation, it helped us a lot. Why? Because everything was in the middle of the pitch. It was all narrow. Nothing was going wide. That's why ball leads crosses a few times. They weren't that great. That's why Kounde was poor. And also when Benfica got the ball, all they did was just hoof it down the line. They were going down the middle of the park as well. So everything was going centrally. And when you, of course, overload the central areas via press and, outnumbering your opponents, it does benefit you a lot. And this approach from Flick won us the game, in my opinion. And the fact that he has this in his locker, I think, is news to me and news to you guys, because what we've seen so far this season is 4-2-3-1. He might change the game with a substitution per se, but he never changed the formation in game, and we saw that in this performance, and I think it was exceptional for him. I think we see him go to a 4-4-2 just to hold on to a lead a couple times in games, especially in games where we're just desperate for the win. But to go for it, we saw this, and now we're going to be, the thing is, now with him doing this, we're going to probably expect this more in the future from, of course, a fan perspective. I'm thinking we're down, go to that 3 at the back like we did against Benfica, try that and go for it. We were, of course, down 2 goals at that point, 4-2. He's like, you know what, screw it, let's just try it. What's the point? But it's a very, very positive approach, and in the end, it was beneficial for us. Now, other things we learned from this game, I think firstly, again, the Raphinha, debate. We're seeing now that he has more GA this season than Ballon d'Or candidate Vinicius Jr. had all of last season, which just shows the level that he is playing at this in this season. But again, my issue with Rafa, he could be so much more decisive. Don't forget, he missed 2 clear chances in this game before scoring his brace, which means that there was a very good chance and he should have probably had a hat-trick in this game. Rafa, for me, the problem with him is that if he doesn't get a goal and assist, you think of him as you think he has a stinker. But when he does have that goal and assist, everyone's glazing him. I'm seeing like his stats of all his SOFA score ratings and stuff like that, like it's all 8 and 9 out of 10 and 10 out of 10s. The reality is that Rafa still needs to be more decisive. We were criticizing him a lot last season, his first season at Barcelona. Now he's scoring more goals, but he should be scoring way more. He's very, very, I wouldn't say ineffective in the final third because he is scoring goals, but there's so much room for improvement for him that he can just take his level even higher. Everyone's glazing him now, 30 goals and assists. We're just halfway through the season. It's unbelievable, blah, blah, blah. He's on course for 40 to 50 GA, which is, dare I say, we're touching Messi, De Bruyne, Hazard, Ronaldo numbers, which is crazy. But yet again, it could be so more. What we also learned from this game is about Lewandowski. I see a lot of people criticizing his performance as well, but yet again, from him, very similar to Raphinha, he's got 2 goals. So how can you criticize him when he again turns up and scores a goal? Of course, their penalties are a bit different, but again, under the cosh, under pressure, scoring those penalties is absolutely crucial. And people are saying that, Ben Lewandowski, we need to move on from him, blah, 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 blah. Look, if Ferran Torres is glazing himself in the press conference, of course, before this game, saying that, I'm a striker, I think Flick should try it. We've now, of course, since registering Pau Victor, he's only played 10 minutes. So we're here crying and twerking and selling VIP boxes to register Pau Victor. He's played 20 minutes in 2025. That really comes down to Flick maybe not trusting him, not seeing him as an option, but there are suitable replacements in this team for Lewandowski, but the issue is he's decisive in other areas. Build up play, hold up play, passing. The passing from his game from him was absolutely disgusting, but his hold up play was very, very key. And that, of course, mainly helped Pedri down that left-hand side find those spaces in between the lines. So Lewandowski, despite the performance not being great, still impactful in the game. So him and Raphinha kind of playing, catching 2 together. There's been, of course, the other thing we learned was a lot of the criticism about Araujo not playing too well in this game and that maybe selling him to the Juventus and all this stuff. Look, at the end of the day, Araujo is still an elite defender, but in this game, you're gonna but you're gonna see mistakes, and you shouldn't be surprised because we were used to this with Araujo, and we saw, of course, last season in the Champions League. One of the big talking points in this game, in my opinion, another thing that we learned in this game, is that this De Jong and Casado battle is on. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I understand a lot of people hate Frankie De Jong. If you hate him, whatever, crack on. I have no favoritism towards Frankie. I analyze it as a Barca fan. I love all my players. I love all the players that play for this team. Frankie De Jong is knocking on the door. And what I mean by that is he's knocking on the door to replace Casado in the Gala Best 11 for Barcelona. We've seen now since the Super Cup how impactful Frankie has been. I think Araujo and Casado situations are very, very similar. Casado does well in those high intensity, even games against the best teams, very similar to Araujo. Whereas Frankie, much more composed, much more calm, better on the ball, but again, not as good as defensively as he is Casado. So we now have 2 DMs. One DM who's good on the ball, good progressively, but crap defensively. Another DM who's great defensively, great interceptions, controlling the ball, but passes, decision making is crap. What do you pick? I think you're at a point now where you're going to have to pick based on your opponents. If you're playing, a Benfica, a Valencia, an Alaves at home, De Jong probably suits better. But if you're playing, Valencia away at the Mestalla, away at, for example, Atlanta in the Champions League maybe, or away to Madrid, away to Atletico, away to Liverpool in the Champions League, you probably favor Casado more. And that competition now is taking a real fun. I've seen a lot of people saying that, De Jong, again, he came on, we were down 4-2, we ended up winning the game. So there's, of course, a bit of perspective from that front. But I think De Jong is definitely contesting Casado's position. Now, there's 2 games now where Casado has not finished the full game. He played an hour yesterday against Benfica, only 45 minutes against Getafe. And then when De Jong came on for him, the impact was very, very evident. So very, very interesting to see what Flick does for the lines coming up. Of course, with Valencia, Atlanta, Alaves coming up as well. Very, very curious to see what Flick does in that regard. I think that's right now the most intense position in the team in terms of competition. We of course saw the fullbacks in this game have very, very good performances, and there's been now a lot of question about the team's mentality. Now, if you watch my live stream, you see I was very dejected in the second half, especially with the fact that we were playing very much like the games against Getafe. And is there now? I think personally, in my opinion, the team's mentality is still in question. Yes, it was a fantastic comeback, but I still do see this team not mentally at the peak and highest level of football. Despite the fact that Flick says the mentality is great, Eric Garcia and Raphinha after games saying the mentality of this team is fantastic. Of course they're going to say that. They're not going to say it's poor, but from a fan looking in, this has been the same team now for about 3 or 4 years. Nothing has changed, and it's all well and good doing this in the group stages, but you want this, of course, in the knockout round. So, to be fair, in big moments this season, they've only failed one test, and that was Atletico Madrid at home. They passed, of course, Dortmund away, Real Madrid away, Bayern at home, Super Cup, this game. They passed every big game this season with flying colors. Villarreal away, Girona away again at the beginning of the season. At the time, that was pretty intense since they did pretty well last season. Apart from the Atletico Madrid game, they passed every single big game test. But now they're kind of a big game team, and then they do poorly against the weaker teams. It kind of roles reverse. But I think once March hits, we'll see the true indication. Of course, finally, the final point I do want to mention, I don't know what point this is, 5, 6, 7, maybe even 4th point, I have no idea, but I want to talk about how the team plays against a low block. Again, Kubarsi and Szczesny highlighted this a lot, finding spaces. The issue with this team is that when the team sits back so deeply, all Barcelona want to do is just work it out, and they just try their best to find the spaces. And that's what we've been doing since Tiki-Taka was introduced by Pep. The reality is nowadays in football, that just doesn't work. Why did Barcelona come back in this game? Raphinha mistake from the goalkeeper, that brings one back. Penalty mistake brings one back. Eric Garcia header, that's again a cross coming in, chucking everything forward. Raphinha on the counter-attack. None of that was from creating space, taking your time, and then penetrating and scoring. We of course had that chance with Kounde, that would have been the case. He missed. That's what happens when you rely upon those kind of players. And of course, I think the Casado de Jong change helps with that a lot as well. But we have to be... You gotta have more cojones outside the box. Take your shots. We had, of course, that Pedri shot that almost went in, that slipped. Again, in these kind of conditions, just ping it from 25, 20 yards, see what happens. You get rebounds, you get balls in. Raphinha had a few shots from distance. Lamine Yamal as well. We saw it a bit more than we did against the Getafe game, but if it came down to our own ability to create the goal, we would have struggled. Again, you had a mistake, a penalty, and a set piece to score 3 goals. Set piece in the sense that the corner was taken shortly, cross came in. So none of these goals were created from our own front, like the Benfica first goal. If we were relying on that, we would not have came back in this game. Set pieces helped us, but this team, like Szczesny mentioned and like Kubarsi mentioned as well, need to be more decisive against teams with low blocks. At the end of the day, 8 out of 9 times you play this season, you're going to play a low block. Where Benfica, to be fair to them, they played pretty open in that first half. Once they had the lead and once we were kind of getting under pressure a bit, they sat back and soaked it up, which again, credit to them, that's probably what they should have done. But we have to be more impactful against these low blocks. And I don't mean impactful in the sense that, oh, you have to score 5 goals no matter what. Be more decisive. Don't stop pinging the ball out wide. Ball they cross blocked. Lamine Yamal cross block. Cross comes into absolutely no one. That's one that triggers me the most. When Kounde, Yamal, Raphinha, or Balde cross the ball in, probably looking for Lewandowski, and Lewandowski all the way at the halfway line, dropping deep to do some hold-up play. That's what annoys me the most. Look. See what's out there. If their space opens up, take it. Lamine Yamal was looking for it a bit, but it always got closed down. The shot always got blocked. But be more decisive and stop relying on, play helping you out. Especially in a game like this when you're already losing and you need to come back as soon as possible. The game's, tight 0-0. Of course, you want to be conservative. You don't want to, waste your chances, waste your opportunities. I understand that. But in a game like this, low block, you're down goals. Very similar to the Getafe, low block, you're not winning. Those are the moments where you want to see a bit more of a risk taking place by Barcelona, picking balls in, maybe to more accuracy, taking shots from distance, and stuff like that. Overall, crazy night. One of the most craziest games I've watched for Barcelona without a shadow of a doubt. Did not believe in the comeback. We got lucky, I believe, mostly, but again, even the goals we conceded were a bit unfortunate on our side. Very, very important win, and then hopefully now this team can use it. Again, our record in 2025 is very, very good. I think 5 games played, 1 draw, 4 wins, and hopefully, and I think we only had 2 clean sheets, which is kind of I think we actually played 6 games. We played Barbastro, 2 in the Cup, Betis, Getafe. 6 games. 6 games, 5 wins. very, very good start to the year, and hopefully we can use this game as confidence momentum going forward, especially with the league. We're trying to claw that back. I love the team talking about the league quite a bit. Szczesny mentioned it, Kounde mentioned it, Ferran mentioned it yesterday as well. Flick, of course, is talking about it, so hopefully we can get this sense of a comeback in La Liga as well. Of course, in the comments down below, let me know your thoughts on everything we discussed, on the points that I mentioned, if I forgot to mention a point as well, and your thoughts on this game overall from the ability perspective, not more so from the actual play in the game. And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care and Forza Barca.